Wow, what an unbelievable NBA championship series. Congratulations to the New York Knicks. They played amazing. It was unbelievable. And I'm just so happy for them and so proud of them. It's been over 50 years since they had a championship before. And so it is definitely, an amazing moment for them. San Antonio Spurs, surprising with just how they played and how things, unfolded for them. Now, you don't have to be a sports fan or a basketball fan to learn from the numerous life lessons that came from this championship series. And I'll just sum it up with a couple things here. For me, the biggest thing that I'm pulling from this is understanding one's ability and even more so willingness to change. That's the moral of this story. And here's what I mean by that. Take the New York Knicks, the world champion New York Knicks. Coming into this series, they were the underdogs. It was obvious. Literally nobody thought they were going to win this thing. I'm not even sure New York Knicks fans, were cheering for their team, but they probably had a thought in the back of their mind that, this is going to be tough. But nevertheless, going into it, in my opinion, I thought the Knicks needed to win game one in order for it to at least be competitive, which is exactly what they did. But going into it, taking a step back, going into this and facing the series, the Knicks had a monumental task of overcoming the underdog in order to get that championship. And so when you have a monumental task like that, psychologically, it can feel overwhelming. But the way you approach a situation like that is you break it down into small, tangible steps. You don't look at the whole mountain. You just break it down into small little moments. And how can I be my best in this moment, knowing that that'll connect to the next moment and the next moment. And so strategically, that was the mentality of them going into it. And when you do that, mentally, you have an openness and a willingness to change because you're focused on the moment. You have your overall goal. They wanted to win the championship. So breaking that goal down into what are the critical little steps that can lead us to that goal. And with each moment like that, there's an openness and a willingness to change and adjust and adapt in order to stay aligned to their ultimate goal that they were trying to do. And this is best summed up. The perfect example of this is in that game 4 when they made that monumental comeback, a historical comeback from being down 29 points to coming back and winning the game altogether. So here's what I mean by that. When they're down by 29 points, that's an overwhelming situation, in a game, but instead of thinking that, we have to get it all back immediately, they just broke it down into how can I be the best that I can be on this next play right here. And that's practically the idea of staying present in the current moment. And that is literally the priority that they had to do. Now, what about the past and the future and all those things? You acknowledge the past as well as the future, but you prioritize the present. And so here's what I mean by that. In the past, the play that just happened, or the couple of plays that just happened, they don't ruminate on the mistakes or a bad break or something like that. They just take what is the learning from the past, what just happened or that happened a couple plays ago. What learnings can I take from that and apply it to the present moment so that I can be at my best and so that can help me ultimately achieve the outcome that I want, which in game 4 was to win the game. And so you take that learning, you pour that into the present moment. Now, what about the future? You don't worry about or get anxious about the future. You make the future be dependent on the present. And so what I mean by that is, how can I be my best in the present moment so that it can influence the next moment that's coming up? I'm not going to overly think about it, but if I know by being my best in this current moment, it's going to influence the next moment. And then you just do it again. The next moment is here. Okay, what did I learn? Apply that to the present moment. How can I influence the next moment and the next moment? And so it's like a little 3-step cycle, little mini process that you just keep running over and over again. And before you know it, the momentum and the favor of the game starts to swing towards you. That's what literally happened in game 4. And that is symbolic of what happened in this entire series. The San Antonio Spurs. So again, mapping this back to one's willingness to change. In my other video, I talked about, I brought in the metaphor or the example of, in the Bible, Moses and Pharaoh. Pharaoh was unwilling to change. He hardened his heart, even though there was a ton of data, there were 10 different signs that came his way saying that his current plan was not working and to, let the Israelites go. But he decided to stick with what he wanted to stick with, stubborn, if you will, and just stay on that path. The Spurs did the exact same thing with their strategies and their tactics. There was a ton of information coming back at them saying that the outcome that you want to be NBA champions, how you're approaching this is not working. You will not achieve this outcome if you stay with your current plan. But rather than having an openness and a willingness to change their strategy, change their tactics with who's on the floor, with how they're running certain plays, with who's in position on the floor and how all that works together, there was a willingness to not do that, or a stubbornness, let me say it that way, to just stick with what their original plan was. And so that produced a number of contradictions, and the contradictions is valuable data telling them that their plan's not working. But instead of having a willingness to change, they stuck with it. And hey, outcomes are outcomes. And that's what it is. So, I'm sure, or at least I assume, that the Spurs will learn from this and they'll get better from this. We'll see. But again, credit to the New York Knicks. One more thing about the Spurs, last thing. I assume they would never admit this, but in my opinion, I think their championship, in quotes on purpose, was beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was a much better series with how they approached it. There was more of a willingness to change there. I think probably deep in their hearts, they probably thought that the OKC series was the harder task. And the New York Knicks wouldn't be that hard. Just lock in and focus a little bit, and they got a championship. But things aren't automatic like that. These are professionals. These are athletes at their top of their game, and they're doing amazing things. But I think that's the biggest lesson to pull from this, is how willing and able and open are you to changing and continually changing in the moment. How much do you focus on the moment and prioritize that? And in relation to the past, taking the learnings from the past, not overly focusing on the past, applying that to the present moment so that they can influence the next moment. How present is that running in your life? And that's the big life lesson to take from this series. So I'm curious to know about what you think. Let me know.